So welcome back again. So last time we looked at the introduction to web development course. Then we explained all about the web development process. So starting from the stages to the types of web development and so on. So what we'll be starting with will be our introduction to the front-end development. So that's the first stage of like web development. So you developing the front end. So after your information gathering and so on. So let's say we have the information we need now. Now what do we do? So we start creating our website. So the first stage we like to start with is the front end. So we can start from the back end, but I would like to start from the front end since that one will be the easiest. Then you move on to the hardest. Okay, so the introduction to front end development is what we'll be doing in this video. Okay, so the first thing we'll be looking at will be the HTML basics. So HTML is just the structure of your website. So how your website is structured. Then the CSS will be your styling. So styling the page or styling the website. Then the JavaScript will be used to handle events. So let's say you want to handle some events here and there and so on. So let's say when I click something pops up here and so on. So that's the animation things. So that's all in the event. Okay, then the Bootstrap is also, let's say, a CSS framework. So it's just CSS. Then yeah, so just CSS. Then we'll go on to look at the introduction to the React.js framework. So we look at the introduction, then we will end with this front-end development. Okay, so I think this should be roughly very fast because these are not that much entailing. Since the React.js we are treating the introduction, then we move on to treating the detailed in our further chapters. Okay, so let's look at the first thing, the HTML basics. So HTML is the abbreviation for hypertext markup language. So it's a language which is used in web development. So it's no more like, let's say, those programming languages you see, so like the Python, the Java and so on, but it's just a markup language. Okay, so that's the standard language we use in website development. If you don't know HTML, unless maybe you are a content management CMS, content management system developer, then that one you don't need the HTML. So what you know is the WordPress language and so on. Then the markup in the name represents that the HTML can be used to display content to the user but not concerned with how it is presented. So it's just the structure you are concerned with, but not the let's say not the styling. Okay, then every website is created with HTML. So every website, even though there is no website in the code, so let's say when you are using WordPress there is no HTML, but still the WordPress will actually use HTML to create your website for you. Then in HTML every content is considered an element. So every content in the HTML is considered an element, and we will see why is that. Okay, in a few minutes. Then and they are surrounded by tags, so they are surrounded by these things here. Okay, so that's the tags. Okay, so we have less than, greater than, then less than, forward slash, then yeah, so these are called tags. So open tag, closing tag. Okay, so we would like to see the layout of every website, so how every website looks like. Okay, so like it's very simple and like straightforward. So first you need to know this structure. So I have something like a doc type here. I'll explain it in the next slide. So I have the doc type here, HTML, head, body. This is sounding weird. Okay, it's not very scary here. So let's go to the next slide so that we can use to explain it. So as you can see here, you can see that for this one I have opened it but not closed it yet. So we see why is that and so on. So the first one we'll be talking about is the doc type HTML. So before this slide, or before the last two slides, we talked about every element being in tags. So that's what we are talking about. So if you can see here, I have one tag here, another tag here, Yeah, so these are tags I'm talking about. Then doc type HTML represent the current HTML version, which in this case is the current version HTML5. Okay, so when you add doc type HTML, you are saying that, oh, okay, I'm I'm telling the browser that, oh, okay, this is the HTML5 I'm using. So when I go here, you can see I'm adding doc type here. So doc type HTML. So I'm telling the browser that, okay, I'm using HTML5. That's the newest HTML. Then the second tag will be the HTML tag, which represents an opening tag. So when you see, let's say, an element, or when you see something inside a less than and a greater than, it means it is an open tag. So it is an open tag, then the lang option is used to represent language in this case, and like en representing the English. Okay, so when I go back, so when like you look here, this is an opening tag, but when you look at this thing, this is just an option. So we call these values, like maybe you have something and you are setting it a value. So that setting it a value makes that thing an option. So this is called option. So this is just the tag. This is just the tag, but this thing inside the HTML is called an option. So there is no comma, it's just a space between them, then being equal to the en. So en implies that, okay, we are telling the browser that this in English. Okay, yeah, so we have a lot of shortcuts for different languages, so you can check here as I've shared it here. So I'll share it in the description so that you can have an easy access to it. So HTTPS and Wikipedia and so on. So these codes will be what will be used in the lang option for representing your language. Okay, then we have the head, opening and closing tag. So it represents the opening and closing tags of the header tag. So this is the header tag. So the header tag, and anything in between the opening and closing tag appears at the header. So if you know, like if you like open a website, so let me do some quickly here. So okay, let's say I've opened this website. Okay, so if I open this website, you can see that, let me use Google. Okay, so if I open this website, you can see that there's something at the top here which is login on Heroku. So this let's say a title, you see, so there's a title we give this is the header. So that's the heading section. So this is where your header is. So let us go back again. So yeah, so that's the header. Okay, so the opening tag and the closing tag head is showing you the header section of your page. So you can consider your website or your page as a one single document. Then you can section it. So you have the section which is for the head, the section which is for the body. So that's our next thing we talk about. So the body represents the body of the HTML. So anything placed in between these two tags will be displayed on the page. So when I go back here, the header will be this like this. So it will contain what is on the top, then the body will be what is inside the page. So anything I put in between here will appear in my website. Okay, then lastly we look at the /HTML. So that's the closing tag for the HTML here. So if you can see here, the HTML tag contains everything, like everything from the header to the body. So anything outside the HTML tag is not like gonna show, so it's not part of the website. So what you put inside the HTML tag, so that's the opening and the closing here, is what you can view. That's from the header and the body. Okay, so these are the features of the like HTML code. So when you see any HTML code, these are the key features you see in the code. Okay, so how to save and run your HTML code? So it's very simple. HTML codes are saved with the extension .html. So just as like we have the maybe saving a text, we can say man.txt and so on. Yeah, so we will see how we can save it in when we start typing or when we start doing some real coding. Yeah, then we need some editors to write our code. So you can't write your code in just anywhere, so you need to write it in, let's say, a specific software. So we can use VS Code. So I'll share the link in the description, and maybe some Notepad to Notepad++ would also do. And any browser can be used to run HTML codes. The most preferred is Google Chrome. So you can use any browser to, let's say, run HTML code, but the most preferred is the Google Chrome. Then different browsers displays HTML codes differently. So maybe a button that will be shown on Google Chrome will be different from a button that will be shown on Mozilla Firefox and so on. So it displays HTML codes differently. Okay. Then the HTML tags. So most of the HTML elements are surrounded by tags. Then those without tags are known as void elements. So they are all surrounded by tags, but we have those with only, let's say, opening tag and something like a forward slash we'll see in a bit. So the img tag here has no closing tag, so it has no closing tag. So unlike the HTML tag we saw there, so there is no closing tag. Then we can also have the H1s and so on. So we will talk about these heading tags when we start headings. Then we have the div2. So this is also opening and closing, but for image or for img it has no closing tag. Okay, so let's see how we can just say hello world, like, yeah, just creating a page called hello world. So if you know any programming language, the first thing you do is hello world. Okay, so let's start by creating our HTML. So I'll go back, then let's see how we can create. So I will quickly go here, create a new file, or let me close this one. Okay, so okay, so if you install the VS Code, that's what you see. So the first thing you see is this window, so something like this window. Then you start by maybe opening a folder or opening a file. So I would like to create a new file, so I'll go to new file. Okay, so then I'll start coding here, but first I need to save it. So as we learned earlier, all your HTML files must be saved with .html. Okay, so I'll go here, file, then I'll say save as. Okay, then they will take me to somewhere to save it. So I'll just want to save it on my desktop. So here should be let's say hello world, yeah, hello world. So it's just the hello world I'm using, so that's the file name. Then the save type will be my HTML, so I'll select HTML here. So you can scroll down from here, you can see a lot of extensions. So here I can see HTML here, I click it, I go save. Okay, so I've saved my first HTML page. So like every website consists of HTML pages, so we have a lot of pages, then we have bring it together to form a website. So let's see our first code. So as we learned, so the structure will be like doc type HTML. Okay, then we have HTML. Okay, here should be HTML. Then we specified an option which I talked about, the lang option for let's say passing your language preference. So I'll prefer English, so lang being equals in. Okay, so I'll pass it here, then I'll close it. So that's it. So you open, then you close, then I'll specify a head also. So head. Okay, head. Okay, so we won't talk about what is contained in the head right now. We will look at our hello world, so that's what we are concerned with. Then we will also look at the body. So body, then I'll close it. So when you open, then you close. Okay. So buddy, I want to put anything here. So hello world. That's what I want to display to, like, that's what I want to display on my page. So every website is made of pages. Then I'll close my HTML here. So anything after that won't be shown. So then I'll run this thing here. Okay, so since I've saved it, so you can just auto save here. So when you click this, it will be automatically saving. Okay, so I'll go back to my desktop to run my code. So this is my desktop. So this is my hello world here. Then I'll quickly go to my hello world. Okay, so depending on the browser you are using, you can use Google. So I will prefer Google Chrome. So I will go here. Okay, so you can see I'm seeing hello world here. So that's what I'm seeing here. So let's go back again. Here you can see the file name is being shown here. So I'll go back to my VS Code. So VS Code. Okay, now for VS Code, it's very simple to use. So I won't explain it for now. So it's very simple to use, but I'll be teaching about some shortcuts you get to encounter in your daily coding. So you have head here. Okay, now for head, that will be your top section, as I talked about already. So the top section, when you want to add some name at the top section, you add another tag called title. So that will be your title of the page. Okay, so that one will be indented so that like you structure your code very well. So that so I'll indent this, then I'll say title. It is also a closing tag, it's not a void element, so it has a closing tag. So title. Okay, then what I'll put here will be shown at the title. So I'll go here. Now this is my hello world page. Hello world page. Okay, so I'm done. Now I'll quickly go to my web. Since it's autosave, I'll go to my website and see how many. Okay, so I'll reload this. Okay, so you can see here hello world page. Okay, so that's the title. Then I'll go to my body. So the body, already put hello world there, so you can see. So anything you put inside the body will be shown at that document page. So this page I'm talking about. So I'll go here. Okay, so you can see this white background here is what is representing your body. So hello world in your body is just the hello world. Okay, now we have seen what the website is looking like the structure of the HTML. Then we would like to add some more features. So I'll go to my slide, then talk again. So so I'll go here, then move again. Okay, so I think that's the end of this slide. Okay, so in our next video we'll start by looking at headings and so on. So more features about our let's say HTML, then we see how we can go about it. So that's that for this video. I hope you love this video. Keep practicing and learning on your own. I think it should be going on well. So there's the structure of HTML coding. So just share it with your friends, like this video, subscribe with your so subscribe the channel